statue they joked the booth alien ruin with silent thick roots hung from broken stone walls. Blue light leaked through the cracks above. It smelled like dust, old metal, and something strange. 5 humans stood at the edge of the chamber, looking at the tall stone figure in the center. It was huge, almost 3 meters tall, shaped like a tall humanoid, but the face was not human. It had smooth skin, no mouth, and long, narrow eyes that were closed. Jake Morgan stepped forward. He was the youngest in the team, tall, curious, always smiling. He looked up at the statue and said, "This thing's gotta be at least 1,000 years old." "At least," said Dr. Leah Yoren, the lead xenoarchaeologist. "We found its writing system buried under 10 layers of collapsed stone." "What does it say?" asked Jake. "We're still translating," Leah answered, "but something about sleep, an echo, and a warning." Jake raised an eyebrow. Classic. Ancient aliens always leave warnings no one listens to. The others laughed softly. Nobody was really scared. They were scientists. This was just another mystery. Jake looked at the statue again. Its lips didn't move because it had no mouth. He grinned, stepped closer, and said, "You think it's a god?" No one answered. He leaned in and whispered, "I dare you to wake up." Double quotes then. In a bold move only Jake would try, he kissed the statue's cold stone cheek. Leah gasped, "Jake," but before she could finish, a pulse of light ran through the floor. The walls hummed. Dust shook from the ceiling. Jake backed away. "What the?" Then it happened. The statue's eyes opened. They glowed bright white, not like lights, more like stars. The air froze. Everyone stopped breathing. A voice filled the chamber, not from the statue's head, but from inside their minds. "You doomed your species." Then silence. The eyes closed again. The light vanished. The humming stopped. No one moved for a long time. Then Leah finally whispered, "Did anyone else hear that?" They all nodded. Jake wiped his forehead. "What did I do?" "You triggered something," Leah said. She pulled out her scanner and aimed it at the statue. "It's alive," she said. "Not moving, but active. Something woke up inside." "What do you mean doomed?" asked Jake, trying to laugh but failing. No one laughed with him. That night, the team set up camp outside the ruins. They argued over what had happened. Some wanted to report it right away. Others said they should wait, study more. Jake sat by the fire, quiet. His hand hurt. He looked down and saw something glowing on his palm. A small symbol, curved lines like a wave or a flame. It pulsed softly. He covered it with his sleeve. In the middle of the night, Jake woke up from a strange dream. He had seen a city in the sky, made of glass and light. He had walked through a chamber full of statues, all with eyes glowing, like stars. He had heard a voice whisper, "You carry the echo." He sat up, sweating. His hands still glowed. He stepped out of the tent and walked toward the ruins. The statue stood there, just as before. But now something felt different. He placed his hand on its chest. It was warm. He heard the voice again, just one word, "Soon." By morning, he didn't tell the others. He just said he didn't sleep well. They went back into the ruins, scanning deeper tunnels. They found more carvings. One of them showed a figure kissing the statue, then the sky turning black. Leah frowned. "This can't be real. It's like a prophecy." Jake stared at it quietly. He knew the joke wasn't funny anymore. Something had started, and he was the key. Asterisk, the voice in his blood. Jake didn't sleep again. The glowing mark on his hand didn't fade. It stayed there, like a living tattoo, small, curved lines shaped like a wave, pulsing softly with light. He didn't tell the others. Not yet. But the voice, he couldn't ignore it anymore. It came when he blinked a long. When he touched metal. Even when he dreamed. "You carry the echo. You woke the buried code. They will come." The rest of the team was busy digging through lower chambers of the ruins. Dr. Leah Yoren was focused on carving symbols into her tablet. "These symbols talk about something called the echo bearer," she said. Jake froze. "What's that?" he asked, pretending to sound casual. "Not sure," she said, "but whoever it was, the ancient ones feared them. They called them the door and the key." Jake swallowed hard. "Sounds important. Or dangerous," she said. Later, Jake found himself back in the main chamber, the one with the statue. It hadn't moved since that first night, but he couldn't stay away. He stepped close and looked into its cold, closed eyes. "What did I wake?" he whispered. The air shifted. Not loud. Just different. The mark on his hand glowed brighter. He placed his palm on the statue's chest again. This time, the stone shimmered under his touch, and a deep sound filled the air like breathing. A voice whispered in his head again. The blood remembers. The mind forgets. You are the last thread. What does that mean? Jake asked aloud. You were not chosen, but you touched the thread. Now it grows in you. His legs weakened. He stepped back. His nose started to bleed. He wiped it, shaking. He didn't tell the team, but his body was changing fast. His skin itched, sometimes burned. His eyes caught flashes of light that weren't there. His thoughts ran faster than before. He started understanding pieces of alien language without reading it twice. He could hear machines humming through walls. His blood wasn't just flowing, it felt like it was humming. To days later, the team found a sealed door deep below the ruins. Smooth metal, no handle, no writing. But Jake felt it. He reached out, placed his hand on the door. It lit up. A perfect circle glowed around his palm. The door opened with a soft hiss. Leah stared at him. How did you do that? Jake shook his head. I didn't do anything. It just reacted. They stepped inside. The room inside was round and dark. In the center floated a glowing shape, a cube of soft white light. It didn't touch the ground or the air. It just hovered, waiting. What is it? Leah asked. Before anyone could move, Jake stepped forward. The voice inside him screamed, don't touch it. Not yet. But it was delayed. He reached out, and the cube blinked once. Then vanished into his chest like liquid. Jake fell to the ground, screaming. His body lit up. Veins glowing, eyes burning white. The mark on his hand spread up his arm like a root system, and then he passed out. When he woke, Leah was sitting beside him. You okay? He nodded slowly. What happened? We don't know, she said. But after it entered you, the whole ruin lit up. The walls started glowing. The statue opened its eyes again, just for a second. He sat up. Did it say anything? No, she said. But we think you triggered something huge. Jake stared at his hand. The mark now reached his elbow. He felt hot inside, like he was holding lightning. He looked at Leah. Double quotes. I think I'm hearing things. Like what? Like voices, language, places I've never been. Jake, she said, I think the ruin is using you. He nodded. Double quotes. Yeah, he said softly, and it's not done yet. That night, Jake sat alone near the ruins. He whispered to the air. Who are you? The voice answered, not who. What? I am memory. I am the echo of a fallen race. You kissed the last lock. Now you must carry the code until it opens the door, or ends everything. The weapon buried in stone through and kept changing. Walls opened that weren't there yesterday. Symbols glowed where dust once covered stone. In the air, it hummed now, like it was alive. The team moved deeper underground. They followed strange tunnels that curved like rivers. Jake walked ahead. They didn't stop him anymore. His mark glowed bright. Now machines turned on when he stepped near. Doors opened when he looked at them. He wasn't just part of the team anymore. He was something else. And he felt it too. In the lowest chamber yet, they found it. A round room made of smooth black stone. In the center hovered a strange object. Not metal. Not glass, but something between. A blade. A sword with no hilt. No grip. Just a long glowing edge. Floating in the air. It spun slowly. Silent. But full of power. No one moved. Jake stepped forward, slowly. What is that? Leah whispered. His eyes didn't blink. The weapon. He reached out, but the voice inside him shouted, do not touch. Not yet. The weapon is memory, pain, justice, truth. What kind of weapon is truth? He whispered. The voice said, the kind that cuts deeper than bone. He looked at Leah. It's not meant to kill people, he said. Not like a normal weapon. Then what's it for? To open things, maybe even time itself. The walls of the chamber lit up. A hologram formed around them. Floating shapes, alien stars. Systems burned and dying. Then ships. Thousands of them. Alien wars from long ago. One race destroyed everything. Then vanished. This was the end, Jake whispered. Leah stared at the hologram. Who were they? They called themselves the Still Ones, Jake said slowly. They ruled without moving. They spoke through silence. Their empire was thought. And what happened to them? He looked down at the blade. They made this, and someone used it. The blade pulsed. It turned toward Jake. Slowly. Gently. Then stopped. He reached out again. The voice said, if you take this, the enemy will see you, and they will come. Jake. Paused. His hand hovered an inch from the blade. His heart pounded. Then he said, "They already know I'm here." He grabbed it. A flash of light burst across the chamber. Leah and the others were thrown back. Jake stood frozen. The blade melted into his chest like smoke, like light. His body glowed. His eyes turned white. He floated for a moment, arms stretched out. Then he fell to his knees. Hard. He gasped. The glow faded, but his skin was hot, and the mark on his hand now reached his shoulder. "Are you okay?" Leah asked, rushing to him. He nodded slowly. "It's inside me," he said. "The weapon?" He looked at her. "Yes, and it's not just a weapon. What is it then?" He stared ahead. A memory of pain, and a map to something worse. Later, that night, Jake sat alone in the ruins. The statue's eyes opened again, only for him. It spoke without moving. "The blade has awakened. Now the watchful will stir. They remember what you carry." "Who are they?" Jake asked. "The ones we tried to forget. The ones who punished us for what we made. They live in shadows. They eat light. And now, they know your name. In the sky above the ruins." A small black dot blinked. Then another dot, then 10 moving. Fast. Silent. Like ghosts. In the final moment of part 3, Jake looked up. The voice still echoing in his skull. "What happens now?" The answer came soft, cold, and final. "Your world will learn the cost of touching the past." The empire that left the warning sky above the planet had changed. Black shapes moved between the stars. They were quiet, smooth, like knives in space. No signals. No answers. But they were watching and waiting. In the ruin, Jake stood at the center of the glowing chamber. His eyes were dull now, like he hadn't slept in days. His body had stopped glowing. But inside, the weapon was still there. Silent. Heavy. Leah placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're shaking," she said. "I feel them," he whispered. "They're coming, the ones from your visions." "Yes," he said. They followed the signal. The statue's eyes opened again. And this time, the voice was louder, heard by everyone in the room. "You have taken the blade. The seal is broken. The Watchers return, and with them, extinction." The whole room started to vibrate. Stone dust rose into the air like mist. Holograms flickered across the wall, scenes from long ago. Not dreams. Memories. One by one. The crew saw it. A golden city floating above a black ocean. Alien beings stood, tall and still. They had no mouths, just glowing eyes. They spoke through thought, through soundless code. They called themselves the Echo-born. They ruled thousands of worlds. Not with war, but with knowledge. Until they made something powerful. A living weapon. The blade. Then came the war. Another race attacked. Creatures without form. They ate energy, erased memory, killed thought itself. They came because of the blade. The Echo-born fought back. The late. Worlds fell. Stars dimmed. At the center of it all stood one statue. This statue, the last keeper. Leah stepped forward. "This was never a tomb," she said. "No," Jake replied. "It's a prison and a warning." Jake fell to one knee. His head burned. The weapon inside him shifted. The statue looked down at him. "You carry what we could not destroy. We buried it in silence. But now, it speaks again." Jake gasped. "Why me?" "Because you touch without fear and laugh without understanding." He shook his head. "I didn't know. You do now." Outside the ruin, the team's ship hovered in orbit. Commander Raj tried to send a message, but the signal bounced back, scrambled. "What's wrong with the comms?" the pilot asked. "We're being scanned," Raj said. On the screen, a shape appeared. Black, curved, with hundreds of eyes. "What is that?" the pilot whispered. "Death," Raj said. "I've seen this in the old files." Inside the ruins, the voice returned. "You have to pause now. Run, and let them find your world, or fight, and carry the pain we once held." Jake stood slowly. His hand trembled. "If I fight, can I stop them?" "No," the statue said. "But you might slow them down." The walls of the ruin shifted again. A new passage opened. Inside, another chamber. A seat, old, glowing. Leah looked at it. "Is that a command chair?" "No," Jake said. "It's a link." "To what?" He walked toward it. "To the memory of their empire." He sat down. The room flashed. His eyes turned white again. The walls showed images of Jake's own world. Earth. Cities, oceans, people smiling. Then they flickered and showed the same places burning. Falling. Screaming. He screamed. But the chair held him still. His mind open. His thoughts stretched across stars. He saw hundreds of watchers moving toward him. They had no faces, only hunger. Leah pulled at his arm. "Jake, stop. It's too much." But the chair wouldn't let go. The voice spoke again. "The weapon inside you is the map, and the door, they come to open it." "What if I shut it?" Jake asked. "Then you die." "What if I don't?" "Then everyone else does." In the final moment of part 4, Jake stood from the chair, his voice calm, his eyes still white. "Get the others out," he said. Leah looked at him. "What about you?" He stared into the dark tunnel ahead. "I have to make a choice." The invasion begins with a breathy wind stop. No air moved inside the ruins. No dust, no sound, no breath. Then a long low pulse echoed through the stone walls. Boom! The light in the chamber flickered blue, then red. Something had changed. Outside, the sky cracked open like glass. On the surface, clouds swirled into black rings. Above the atmosphere, the first shadow ship arrived. It didn't make noise. It didn't use heat. It simply appeared like a nightmare sliding across a mirror. From orbit, Commander Raj stared at the screen. "We've never seen this kind of ship," he said. The pilot swallowed hard. "Is it scanning us?" "No," Raj said. "Then what's it doing?" Raj looked closer. "It's breathing." Inside the ruin, Jay dropped to one knee again. His back burned like fire. The glowing mark across his arm now covered his entire chest. His heartbeat had changed. No longer fast. Just heavy and deep. The weapon inside him was alive. Leah tried to pull him up. "Jake, you have to move." He looked at her with glowing eyes. "They're here." Above them, black drop pods fell from the shadow ship. They landed like raindrops. No explosion. Just soft impacts. When the first pod opened, nothing stepped out. Only silence. Then a shape began to form like smoke, turning solid. Tall, eyeless, with sharp curves and glowing threads through its skin. It looked around. Then opened its mouth. But instead of sound, everything around it stopped. Birds froze in midair. Leaves hung without falling. Even fire refused to flicker. "What is it doing?" Leah asked. Jake stood. His voice low. "It's a racing motion. It hunts by silence." He walked toward the exit. Leah grabbed his arm. "You'll die. I already started to," he said. "When I kissed that statue in the upper chamber." The statue's eyes opened again. This time wider. The voice returned. "The first breath has begun. They are not here to conquer. They are here to unwrite." "How do I stop them?" Jake asked. "You don't. But you can carry the blade to the core. Burn the path shut." Jake nodded. He turned to Leah. "Take the others. Go back to the ship." "No," she said. "You're not doing this alone." "I am," he said, "because it's not just about me anymore." She saw the fire in his eyes and the fear to. But behind the fear was choice, and she let go. Jake stepped into the light. The first shadow creature turned toward him. The silence grew deeper, like the world had stopped. But Jake didn't. He raised his hand, and the blade came out. Not metal. Not light, but something between. It hovered above his palm, then wrapped around his arm like armor. The creature screamed, but not with sound. It shattered trees just by opening its jaw. Jake ran forward. His blade met the screen. Its silence broke. Up in orbit, Rod saw the signal shift. The shadow ship shook. Its skin cracked. The pilot gasped. "What's happening?" "He's fighting," Rod whispered. On the ground, more creatures formed. Tall, sharp, full of hunger. Jake kept moving. Every step burned. Every swing of the blade cut reality itself. They fell, but not easily. They screamed. He bled. But he didn't stop. Deep inside the ruins, the ancient statue spoke again. "You fight like we once did, but you carry something we never had." "What's that?" Jake asked, panting. Double quotes hope. But hope alone wasn't enough. The air began to shift again. A second ship appeared. Bigger. Darker. And the voice in his head said, "You slowed them. But now, you must burn the path behind you." "How?" "You must let go of the blade. And if I do, you die. But they won't follow." Leah's voice came through a calm, crackling signal. "Jake, we see more coming. Too many. Come back." He looked up at the sky. He smiled faintly. "I can't. But maybe they won't get to you." In the final moment of part 5, Jake stood on a glowing platform deep below the ruin. The blade in his hand pulsed brighter than ever. His voice was steady. "You want my species?" He raised the blade. "You'll have to come through me." He drove the blade into the platform. And light exploded from the ground. Asterisk, the death of Silent Teeth explosion shook the ruins. A wave of white light shot through the ground, racing outward like a storm. Trees bent backward. Stones lifted into the air. And for a moment, everything stopped again. No time, no gravity, no sound. Only light. Then the silence broke. Like glass, a scream echoed from the sky, deep and long, not from a mouth but from space itself. On the surface, Leah covered her ears as a deep sound rolled through her bones. Others in the crew fell to the ground. Commander Roger's ship shook in orbit. Warning lights flashed, but none of the alarms mattered now, because the shadow ships were turning, not toward the planet but away. Inside the ruin, Jake stood in the center of the glowing platform. His body burned like fire, but he stayed standing. His skin cracked with light, his eyes no longer human, but his voice was still his own. He took a breath and whispered, "Not today." The statue behind him began to fall apart. Slowly. Its face crumbled. Its eyes stayed open until the last second. Then faded. Dust filled the air. The ancient warning had finished its purpose. Jake stumbled forward. He could feel the weapon inside him. Changing. It wasn't solid anymore. Not even energy. It was turning into memory. His heart slowed. His breath came in short gasps. But he kept walking. He moved toward the old control panel. Symbols blinked. Alien letters that now made perfect sense. Seal the echo. Erase the link. Cost. Total self. He touched the center pad. And everything went white again. Above, in orbit, the shadow fleet cracked. Their ships folded in strange ways like paper burning without fire. One by one, they vanished. The sky cleared. The wind returned. The birds cried out again. Life began to move. Leah ran back inside the ruins. Dust still floated in the air like gold. She called his name, Jake. No answer. She reached the final chamber. The platform still glowed faintly, but he was gone. No body, no armor. No sound. Only the mark burned into the stone. His mark. The wave symbol. Still warm. In the silence, the last voice returned. He chose to close the gate, to carry the blade back into silence. Where is he now? Leah whispered. Beyond voice, beyond pain, but not forgotten. Days passed. The crew left the planet. The ruins stopped glowing. But the story didn't end. On Earth, far away, a child was born with a strange mark on his palm. The same symbol. The wave, the whisper. One night, as the child slept, he spoke in a voice not his own. Soft, distant, not doomed, just delayed. In the final moment of Part 6, deep in the silent part of the galaxy, something stirred. Not angry. Not awake. Just waiting. The memory of Jake Hale floated in that silence, and his last words echoed. If they come again, I'll be ready. Asterisk, his last word was home. Planet was quiet now. No more glowing ruins. No more strange voices. Just sky, wind, and the soft sound of leaves moving again. But Jake Hale was gone. Not buried. Not burned. Just gone. Like light that faded without warning. Leah stood on the edge of the cliff near the ruin, holding a small metal disc. The only thing left behind. It held a single recording. His voice. Soft, clear, tired. She played it again. If this message reaches anyone, I'm sorry for the joke. I didn't mean to wake anything. But maybe it was always waiting for someone like me. Tell them I wasn't a hero. I was just scared and trying not to run. And my last thought wasn't about war. It was about Earth. It was about home. Leah closed the player and placed the disc into a memory vault. She whispered, "You weren't just scared, Jake. You were strong." On Earth, the signal came 3 weeks later. Weak, cracked. But real. A child had spoken in Jake's voice while sleeping. The scientists thought it was fake, until the child drew a perfect map of the alien system, a place he had never seen. The same symbol burned faintly on his palm. The echo had returned, but not in war. In warning. In the silence between stars, where no sound ever lived, something shimmered. A shape, soft. Like mist. And within it, Jake floated, not in pain. Not in fear. But surrounded by light. He could not speak, but he could feel. He remembered Leah's laugh, his crew, the sky on Earth. And he held one thought tightly: home. In the ruins, years later, new researchers arrived. They found the same markings, but no statue. No blade. Only a name burned into the stone floor: Hale, and one phrase carved beneath it. He carried the echo so others wouldn't have to. As time passed, the story spread. They called it a myth. A warning. Some didn't believe. Some did. But one thing was clear: the watchers never returned. The silence remained broken, and Jake Hale's final choice echoed across generations. One day, the child with the mark stood on a quiet balcony under the stars. He was older now, stronger. He looked up and said softly, "You're still out there, aren't you?" The stars did not answer, but the wind shifted. And in it, a faint whisper, "Yeah, just watching."